The U.S. government's national debt has now surpassed $37 trillion, a milestone that we reached years sooner than had been predicted pre-pandemic. Now, two things contributed to that. One was the COVID-19 pandemic, and now President Trump and the Republicans' tax cuts and spending legislation is estimated to add another $4 to $5 trillion to that debt over the next decade. Analysis by the Government Accountability Office shows that we're adding about $1 trillion to the debt every 5 months, which is double the rate of debt growth that we've had in previous decades. To try and bridge this gap, President Trump is pursuing an interesting way of raising revenues. One is through all the tariffs. Now, they've been on again and off again, but they are still bringing in billions of dollars to the U.S. Treasury. Importers of goods into the United States are paying those billions of dollars of taxes into the federal government treasury, and then consumers are seeing that passed on to them in the form of higher prices, and those higher prices have sales tax attached to them. So very likely any tax cut that you're going to get is negated by the higher price you're going to pay for things. President Trump is also pursuing an interesting new strategy, which a lot of people support, which is imposing these new export taxes on American manufacturers. NVIDIA and AMD recently reached a deal with the Trump administration to pay 15% of their revenue from sales of semiconductor chips to China into the U.S. Treasury. And Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, has floated the idea of increasing the use of this type of export tax. A lot of people are cheering this move. The United States has for a long time sought to tax corporations on their profits from international sales. And this increased revenue from taxation of international profits would help to offset the corporate tax cuts for business done in America. It's a little bit of a strange strategy because chip makers had previously been banned from selling to China because they didn't want that transfer of technology and intellectual property to the foreign nation, which is viewed as a major competitor to the United States. So the impact of it remains to be seen. The deal is for a specific chip that NVIDIA manufactures and a specific chip that AMD manufactures. And it's not clear if the Chinese government will pay that 15% increase in price when the newer chips being manufactured by these companies are actually better. But it could potentially result in around $3 billion in additional revenue collections. One open question, though, is whether these export taxes are even legal, and there are certainly likely to be court challenges related to this. The U.S. Constitution's export clause specifically prohibits any tax or duty on exported goods. So more to come on this as details emerge.